Next conversation today is with the Democratic gubernatorial nominee, Phil Weiser, and his newly announced running mate, Jeffco Commissioner Lesley Dahlkemper. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Congratulations on your selection.
Thank you.
We should note for anybody who's watching the extended version on YouTube, the Republican gubernatorial nominee, Victor Marx, has not yet announced his running mate. We've offered them the same opportunity for a joint sit-down conversation, and they have preemptively declined. Phil Weiser, why did you select Leslie Delcamper to run with you?
The first and most important criteria to me is a governing partner, someone who can be an outstanding governor. Leslie is president of the school board. She was chair of the Jefferson County Board of County Commissioners. She's so well respected across the state. She's got roots in southern Colorado. She's the whole package. And I know we've got so much work to do. People growing up in Colorado say, I don't know if I can afford to live here. Am I going to have opportunities to thrive? How are we going to build a better future? I need a governing partner. That's Leslie.
If something, God forbid, were to happen to you, are you confident that she could be governor?
1,000%. Let me tell you why, Kyle, because I got to watch her in action as we worked on the opioid crisis. One of the issues that came up is what's the regional map going to look like? Version 1 was Jeffco alone. I went to the counties right next door, Gilpin, Clear Creek, and I said, do you guys want to be alone? They said, not really, but we don't know if we can trust Jeffco as a partner, because often rural counties think these larger counties ignore them, take them for granted. And I said to commissioners in rural counties, can you talk to Leslie? They did. Leslie earned their trust. She forged this larger region, including all 3 counties. And she showed them that she knows how to govern in a way that includes all of us. That mindset, that collaborative mindset, that's what we need in Colorado. We've got that with Leslie.
Most, certainly not all, but most prominent Democrats in Colorado endorsed Senator Michael Bennet for governor. You were out early for Phil. Why?
Yeah, number of reasons, but let me just focus on a couple. I have seen firsthand Phil's fearless, collaborative leadership style. That's meaningful to me because when you talk to county commissioners, our number one focus is on getting work done on behalf of our constituents. So as Phil mentioned, we had 18 months working together with other local leaders to really think about how do we shape in a strategic, thoughtful way, how we allocate dollars, how do we get those opioid settlement dollars into the hands of communities to save lives, to make a real difference. And when we talked with Phil and we raised issues with Phil, questions, concerns, when we worked through some tension points, it was clear to me that Phil listened, and that's really critical for our local communities. We need a governor who's going to show up, who's going to listen, but most importantly, Kyle, who will recognize that there are unique differences from community to community. Some of the issues may be very much the same, but how we get there looks different, and Phil knows that and respects it.
So, as a county commissioner, you've got a lot of different things on your plate. Mm-hmm. Are you concerned, with respect, if elected lieutenant governor, that you will be bored? It often seems like they don't have a lot to do.
Well, I will tell you this. I was incredibly honored when I had first received the call from a member of Phil's team who said, is this something that would be of interest to you? And what was of interest to me, knowing Phil and knowing that he has focused on issues that are important to Colorado, he's fought for Colorado, is that I would be working with Phil to better the lives of Coloradans. That was first and foremost. My real interest is in how do we look in creative ways, innovative ways at some of the toughest issues facing our state, whether it's housing affordability, whether it's attracting businesses to Colorado and jobs that are good for the people of Colorado, access to health care, and so much more. Wildfire resiliency is a big issue that we work on in Jefferson County. Those are the issues and others that I'm excited to work on with Phil to advance his agenda and to deliver results for Coloradans.
So it pretty much seems like it's up to the governor how they want their lieutenant governor to function, right? So one way to do it is you send your lieutenant governor to whatever events you don't want to go to that day. Or you could give that person a whole second job in the administration like Governor Polis has done. That's also allowed him to increase his lieutenant governor's salary. Is that something that you'll do?
What we have with Leslie, and this is extraordinary, we have a best available athlete who can play multiple positions. So for baseball fans, think Shohei Ohtani. Great pitcher, great hitter. That's Leslie. She can play multiple positions. So my honest answer, I don't know how we're going to use her, and that's a luxury because she can cover so many different positions. Let's take wildfire resilience. We don't have an office of wildfire resilience, but having Leslie as my lieutenant governor gives me somebody who knows how to lead on that issue. We've talked about behavioral health, education. Former president of the school board, one of the issues I'm really concerned about is we've hollowed out our education system. the so-called BS factor, which is BS, but it means budget stabilization. How do we reinvest in education? Leslie's leadership skills gives us really special opportunities, so we'll see.
Are you leaning one way or the other in terms of kind of like a jack of all trades position or something specialized?
I'm actually not even thinking that it won't be both of those. That is to say, some special responsibilities that are high priorities, and knowing that we've got somebody, when other challenges come up, we're like, Leslie can do this, and because she can.
Picking a running mate from a neighboring county is going to reinforce what Republicans say, which is that Democrats only care about the metro area. How do you respond?
I want to offer two responses. First, get to know both of us, who we are, how we show up. And by the way, Leslie has roots in Southern Colorado that she can talk about. The second point is the work I did on the opioid crisis that we've talked about is work I did showing up all across Colorado. The leadership Leslie provided was for all across Colorado. I've had rural county commissioners reach out to me since this announcement telling me how this gives them confidence of my commitment to lead our whole state.
One of the things that the Weiser campaign noted about your work, in fact, the first thing that they noted was your work lifting the revenue cap in Jefferson County. You were twice told no by voters, and then the third time they gave you a yes. Are you and Phil Weiser coming for TABOR in whole?
Well, let me step back and say that win in Jefferson County to lift the revenue cap came back to the theme that you will hear again and again throughout this interview, and that is showing up and listening to the community. So in Jefferson County, we knew that it was important to sustain the services and programs that the county offers to people that rely on services, public safety, infrastructure, roads, filling potholes, and more. So we listened to our community and said, what are your budget priorities? Here's what it looks like in terms of the future for Jefferson County. What matters most to you? They told us, and that is in fact what is reflected in the work that we did in the ballot measure. And it's significant because it now means greater fiscal stability for Jefferson County. That was critical to me as a county commissioner. And it also means that we're protecting people in our community through major initiatives like wildfire resiliency. We just invested $6.7 million in a new wildland fire management program. That's thanks to Jeffco voters.
But again, voters twice told you no. You had to go back a third time. So the question is, are you looking to dismantle TABOR at the statewide level as well?
If I can jump in.
Yeah.
And I've talked about this a lot. First, there's a requirement. If taxes are going to go up, voters have to say yes. That is not going anywhere.
That's sacrosanct in your mind.
That's sacrosanct. It's settled. There's two other parts of TABOR that are on the table. The so-called hard cap, which Leslie was talking about. This hard cap limits state spending. It is a very particular requirement that only Colorado has. It's really hard for us to make critical investments. I would like to see us change it. Number two, what's the tax code look like? Can we potentially generate more revenue to make key investments like education? I will tell you, both of those are on the table, and I'm thinking hard about this issue about we've underfunded education, and a large number of young folks, young men in particular, say between 18 and 22 or so right now, not only are they not in school, they're not working. That's a failure of our system. I want our kids to do better. We're not doing right by our kids. So yes, on my agenda is going across Colorado, and Leslie's leadership will play right into this, to hear from communities firsthand. What do you think? Can we do better by our kids? And would we be willing to change TABOR to make that happen?
Last question is for you. We've heard Phil make the case against his general election opponent, Victor Marks, and why he believes he's the wrong choice for Colorado. I'd like to hear you make the argument. How do you assess Victor Marks, the man, the candidate, his policies, his priorities?
When I talk to constituents, in Jefferson County, across Colorado, when I work with county commissioners from rural areas, suburban areas, metro areas, and more, the number one theme I hear is how do we solve solutions facing Colorado? And how do we do that together in a way that's meaningful, in a way that listens to our community? And so that is always top of mind. And I think one thing that you will see with a Phil Weiser, Leslie Delcamper ticket are action-oriented problem solvers who are going to listen, and it's going to come from the ground up. That's what matters most. We don't have time for drama. We have time, though, however, to solve problems. And that's what Coloradans expect of us. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
The question was about your Republican opponent, Victor Marks, and you just completely ignored him in the question. Is that also going to be how the campaign functions? You're just going to pretend like he doesn't exist?
I think our response is to Coloradans who come to us and say, why should I vote for you as governor and as lieutenant governor? What do you bring to the table? How are you going to help with issues around affordability? I don't know if my child can stay in the community in which he or she was raised and can afford to be here. What does that look like? How are you going to help solve it? That's what I think voters are most interested in hearing. How are we going to address the severe drought? How are we going to help farmers, ranchers in Colorado who are really struggling right now? How do we help rebuild those communities where we've seen more than 200,000 acres due to wildfire burn? I mean, these are significant issues. That's what we're focused on.
Leslie Delcamper, Phil Weiser, thank you both for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.